Hey guys, my name is Pansy and welcome to my 1v1 PvP tier list for Black Desert Online. This tier list is going to cover the current meta and the current state of 1v1 PvP in the summer of 2021. And for this video we have a special guest. It's going to be Hans. He is a legendary warrior, a Twitch streamer, and a YouTuber in the BDO community, and he's going to be helping us figure out where each of these classes fall in the 1v1 tier list. Before we get started, I do want to let you guys know this is very subjective. It completely changes whoever you ask, and the tiers aren't set in stone. Like, for example, Hans is a warrior, I'm a striker and a mystic, so our opinion of a witch and a wizard is very low in 1v1. So we memed on it the whole video, but realistically, if I had to put an unbiased tier list up, it would probably be a witch in A tier and wizard in A+. And if you guys see anyone in the comment section down below who probably skipped over me saying this right now, is probably going to be crying about it in the comments. So just go to their comment and just drop this magical word RAT and just nothing else, and it'll be our inside joke. All right. But anyway, the most important takeaway from this video is going to be the conversation Hans and I have about each class. The actual tier list itself, like I said, doesn't really mean too much. I hope it does give you guys a sense of direction if you're trying to pick a new class and you want to be playing a class which excels at 1v1. But just remember, the important thing here is the conversation we're having about each class, which will give you a better idea of what you're in for. Don't just look at the tier list at a certain point in the video, because we do change things up. We do add tiers, remove tiers, shuffle things around. So it does change throughout the video, so just a disclaimer there. But yeah, I hope this video is helpful to you guys, and I'll drop our socials down below in the description. So I hope to see you guys around and enjoy. So how I want to do this tier list is, because if we go with each spec, it becomes too much. I mean, it takes way too long to go through every spec. So we'll just consider the best spec, because if they choose to play the worst spec, that's on them. So let's just go with the best spec, and yeah, we'll just toss them in the tier list. We'll go one by one. So just need to put out a disclaimer, guys. This isn't set in stone. We're not writing a holy book that you have to follow.
100% fact. Pansy stands by this. This is Pearl Abyss's official statement.
Oh shit. Anyway, so before we get started, oh look, it's Flannels, the unrivaled god. What's up, dude? Before we get started, just want to give a shout out to Hans for joining us today on the stream. We're going to be building up a 1v1 PvP tier list, and like I said, things can change. I mean, we did this 3 months ago, and half of it's probably moved by now because of all the buffs and changes that happen. But be sure to check out Hans on YouTube as well as Twitch if you guys aren't already there. I'm sure most of you already got him followed, but still, tossing in the credentials right here. Be sure to
thank you.
Subscribe and follow. Go to his videos, drop him some engagement, drop some comments in there, likes. Anyway, dude, 1v1, like in BDO, it's something that's like so unofficial. There's no like arenas, there's no ratings to it, but it's something that everyone has to engage in, because fuck, if you're trying to hold down your grind spot, you're gonna have to fight for it. What do you think in terms of MMORPGs, like how the PvP, the 1v1 system in BDO compares to like other MMOs? Are you happy with it, or is there something you would change?
I mean, obviously some classes could use some love, but I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint every single little aspect of each little class that could be buffed or nerfed, especially from someone like I've only played one class, so I like really can't give you the
in general
specifics of each class. But like in general, how I feel about the game is like it's not like certain tab target MMOs where like you're playing chess and you only have a certain amount of moves. You know, like per this class, per that class. Like you run up against this class, you're screwed.
Right.
It's not really like that in most cases. Like there's always potential to outplay, which is really fun. But I mean, there's some pretty bad matchups out there for certain classes, but for the most part, you have the opportunity to make some plays.
Yeah, and one thing that because it doesn't have that whole ranking system and stuff, I think it goes both ways. It sucks that we don't have that content to play like arenas, but at the same time,
Hmm.
you just don't know. Because if you had like a raw set of data, you could clearly see which classes are dominating and stuff, and metas will be dictated like on WoW. But at the same time, it's not like calculated like WoW. Because if I was like going
It's
against,
created a little bit of a legendary status for some people, you know? Like it creates a legend. Like you hear about this one
yeah,
dude. Like
yeah,
it's kind of the magic of it. Like you hear about this player, that player, instead of seeing him on a leaderboard, and then you get to fight him
exactly.
yourself and see. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Sorry to
no,
interrupt you.
no, absolutely. But yeah, as I was saying, like you don't calculate everything. Like for example, if I was to face off against, if as a warrior I faced off against a red paladin in WoW, I can at least calculate if I did this, he's probably going to trinket. Then I have to trinket this. He has this cooldown, and
Uh
to
huh.
a certain extent where it's going to go. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, if you're an experienced player, you can press your keybinds pretty easily. It's not that difficult. But when it comes to BDO, there's a lot of other factors involved. There's mobility, there's the whole factor of aiming, and then there's desync on top of that.
Yeah.
As frustrating as it is, it's fun. It adds some entertainment.
I'll try to leave desync out of it, even though
Of
I
course.
love talking about it because it's quite literally in every single fight, sadly. But yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying right there. Like I specifically had WoW in mind because I'm kind of playing Burning Crusade right now.
Right,
It's
right.
like, and I played Red Pally for retail, and let me tell you, I quite literally smash everybody 1v1. Like that class is so broken. Like
Oh yeah.
you don't get to outplay it. Like but at least for BDO, like you can dodge. You know, like you can move over to the left a little bit if somebody
Oh
chucks
yeah.
something at you, or runs at you. You know, you can dodge. You can literally dodge stuns or react and block them or super armor them. It's not like a set in stone. You're getting stunned for 6 seconds here. So
Exactly.
no,
Well, how about we get started here?
sure.
All right. So, any particular order you want to hit these?
I'll let you guide it. I suppose.
All right then.
Nothing in mind.
Well, we should at least get a baseline going. How about we go through our classes first? How about we can start with warrior?
Okay. Um, I mean that's an easy S tier. Doesn't
Easy.
really need much explanation. The movement alone, like literally what we're just talking about is like being able to move out of stuff or outmaneuver people. It's
All
probably
right.
one of the best classes to do that. And then on top of that, you do get a frontal guard that you can cancel out of skills with.
Mm-hmm.
You get a grapple, or one of the fastest grapples in the game. It's one of the smaller hitbox grapples, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
so dang fast. It's really effective. And on top of that, one of the other major factors in PvP besides desync, that's kind of a little bit of a fun killer is CC resistance. Our grapple like never
Mm-hmm.
gets resisted. So movement, grapple, frontal guard, you can pretty much outplay any class if you play it right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even in our last tier list, we put warrior at the top of the top, one of the finest classes. One thing I really appreciate about a class like warrior is there's so many micro skills that you can do. There's so much variation to it. There's
Hmm.
really high skill ceiling to mastering the class. I think like for example, Mystic, she doesn't have nearly as much, minute details to how you can cancel out of skills, how you can change skills and stuff. So,
No.
and if you look at like a Guardian, Awakening Guardian, there's like a ceiling you can hit and how well you can play it. That ceiling is so much higher for a warrior. So,
Yeah.
I
And a
think,
lot of people don't like to accept that because warrior like unlike some of the other like original classes uh, at its baseline it's going to be like for a new player it's going to be a lot more effective. Like you can just ooga booga out on warrior and still be effective because of
true.
the block, because of grave dig and the grapple. But that doesn't make it an ooga booga class. Like the skill cap on warrior is I don't know. Nobody nobody like way at the peak of their class is gonna say that warrior is like a tiny brain class. You
Oh,
can play like a
absolutely.
tiny brain class, but the skill cap is way up there
There was a time when I
for
was
sure.
initially playing Mystic that facing people against my skill level or somewhere around that, I was able to handle warriors and stuff. But the moment I stepped in the ring with someone who's actually, good at it, nothing I can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, unless they made a mistake or I get a lucky desync or a resist in there, it was I was outplayed in so many ways. I mean, Warrior just has that potential, and he sits
Mm-hmm.
rightfully at the top in the S tier. I think
Mm-hmm.
definitely a fine class. Would you recommend it to a new player though?
Yeah, it's like I mean, I don't know. My philosophy is like you don't. I mean, don't waste your time. If you see a class you want to play and you think it's gonna be fun, like get like you got to be shit at whatever class you pick for however long until you get good at it. Like just because it has a high skill cap doesn't mean you shouldn't invest
Exactly.
time into it. I don't know.
Yeah, most important thing is you got to play a class that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So, how long have you played Warrior?
Um, since right after or right before, right when Musa came out, that's when I
Mm-hmm.
started playing. I played
Okay.
Musa for like a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Only because one of my buddies picked Warrior. I was gonna pick it, but he picked it first, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's just keep it all different. And Musa looked tight, so I played that for a couple weeks, and then he
Yeah.
quit, and I was like, might as well try a Warrior. And then I
Well,
played that for like 5 years now.
well, let's say thanks to him. I mean, it's really entertaining watching like a good Warrior play, and your stream shows that. I mean, sitting there in BA just constantly just killing people. I mean, ordinary players, ordinary streamers would kind of be a bit boring, but Warrior just has that huge skill gap that it's like that skill ceiling that it is entertaining watching, a Warrior just do his combos and stuff. There's so many ways you can do it.
Yeah, you can show off
Oh, absolutely.
for sure.
Which
There's a couple classes like that though. Like that's
mhm.
the thing. You said something about Guardian, like the skill cap. I feel like a lot of the newer
Awakening.
classes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the new classes are like really their animations are so long
Mhm.
and they're somewhat basic. Like there's not a lot of skill expression, so to say. Like a lot of the original classes like Warrior, Ranger, Sorc, Tamer, Musa, Ninja,
It's true.
Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Like you got a lot more animation cancels, you get a lot of short animations to play with and chain together, and like a lot of these new classes are kind of lacking that somewhat.
It feels like their development philosophy changed along the way. Because,
Yeah.
like, comparing the OG classes to the newer classes, it is different. I mean, the newer classes look cool and all, like, with their animations very polished and stuff, but
hmm
those those micro skills are just not there at the same level.
And
And
it's but the nice part, I guess it's necessary to have some classes like
mhm,
that because not everybody wants to sit there and fucking press like 500 buttons a
yeah.
minute just be effective. But it makes it a little bit hard to balance the classes, I guess, for like group PvP and like
Yeah.
1v1s. But I feel like they could do a little bit more for some of these newer classes to kind of give them a little bit more freedom without just making their skills hit harder. It's like
Nova. Awakening
no, yeah,
Nova.
dude, yeah, my God, don't even. Ugh.
She comes out of nowhere and
Ugh.
just goes bam.
Uh-huh.
And then
It's ridiculous.
and when they're geared, it's like they're just going around fragging people left and right. It's like
Dude, you don't even know you're killed. Like you don't even know it hit you. It's
they're so quick,
ridiculous.
man. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Let's
hard. You can't trade with them. They got high hit counts and stuff. I could
yeah.
go on for days though. I could go on.
Absolutely. We'll get to Nova when
Yeah.
it's her turn. I guess we can talk about Striker Mystic. Those are my mains now. Before I used to flip flop, but recently I changed up my gear, so my AP DP is pretty equal in Awakening and Pre-Awakening. So now, after I made my recent guides, I made three videos for each spec of Striker and Mystic, and now I know the rotation so well that I can actually switch between the classes and not feel like my muscle memory's interfering. Like if I before when I used to go from Succession Mystic to Succession Striker, I'd keep hitting the Striker keybinds on my Mystic for a while. So
Mm.
that's no longer an issue for me. So now I'm officially a fighter main. I'm not just a Mystic or a Striker main. So I
Oh
guess I'll
yeah.
book these two classes together. They're very different in their playstyles, but if I had to say the superior specs, I would give the edge to Succession Mystic due to the recent buffs, where she hits like a truck now. I mean, she used to hit pretty well. I never thought as a Mystic that I needed more damage. I don't know why they gave it so much, raw damage, but she hits really hard. On top of that, protected rotation for days, permanent SA if you want it. Very powerful frontal guards, which also CC and stun and or not stun, but CC and damage, and just a really powerful class. However, she is mechanically at a disadvantage against like certain classes. Like I think a warrior, ninja, kuno, they have things that can outplay her. For
Hmm.
example, when I face off against a ninja and kuno, if they time their block jump, unless I'm doing a super armor rotation, I'm gonna get stiffened. And even if I manage to essay that stiffen, they'll still grab me right out of it. So it's
Yeah.
mechanically uh, disadvantage in that manner. So I can't say she's anywhere near S tier, but she's a very powerful class. I'd say she's with the recent buffs. I'd say she's right there at A plus, lower A plus, but
Hmm.
she's a good class. A or A plus. If I can put it in between, I would. What's your thoughts on Mystic?
Mm, that's it. So we're speaking like straight up 1v1s, right? For this
1v1s
tier
only.
list.
Yep.
Hmm. It's a little difficult, like trying to separate because I've literally only played Warrior, so I'm gonna have to think a little bit. Um, it's hard to separate just like general 1v1s and then like Warrior 1v1. Like, uh, but I mean, I see the same thing there. Mystic's movement is very telegraphed. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
only problems I really see, like mapping them down and like trying to predict where they're going, is like some of their Z-axis skills that get kind of like a little bit desyncy or like
Mm-hmm.
choppy, and it's kind of hard to track. Um,
Well, at the end,
but
we can always
besides that,
rearrange these. Like we can make
sure,
those minor
sure.
adjustments at the end. For now, we'll
Uh-huh.
just toss them on wherever we see fit.
I feel that. I'd probably say, damn, 1v1, because they can be mad quick. I'd say A for now, but it's definitely liable to get bumped up.
Oh, definitely. And Awakening's no pushover as well. Recently, they got Dragon's Rip buffed by giving it a slow. Before it was a nice vacuum, but now it's a slow as well. 30% attack speed, movement speed, casting speed. I get people killed all the time in RBF. I love it.
On the For the vacuum,
Yeah, for
that didn't
Awakening.
always have a slow on it.
No, before
Oh,
it used to
really?
be uh I think the dragon.
You'd vacuum and then you'd hit the slow like on the vacuum or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think Wave Orb had Wave Orb, and then the what is that skill? I suddenly forgot the name of the skill with the dragon spinning in a circle. I call myself a mystic main.
oh,
Anyway,
dude, I cannot name any other class of skills to be honest with you.
anyway,
Um, no, that's actually no, it's kind of a group fight ability, that vacuum, but I've
yeah,
seen some really good mystics use that vacuum to like bait people into popping protections or like more specifically iframes and then closing distance and going for like a grapple
right,
attempt or some sort of like maneuver to get like around a frontal guard and then go for a CC. Like you can use a lot of her
yep.
you can use that vacuum in some clever ways
What about
for sure.
Striker? My issue with Succession Striker was his CCs aren't as easy to land in my opinion. He has some decent CCs, but compared to Awakening, I think he was a bit lacking. I think I'd have to say Awakening is the stronger of the spec. Doesn't mean like a Succession Striker would always lose to an Awakening Striker by any means, but I think
Mhm.
the kit on the Awakening is just a bit better. Double grab, great AoEs, huge damage with the leg drop,
I would agree.
mobility,
Awakening's more
essays.
effective. Yeah, for 1v1, just having the pressure of two grabs, is super big for him because you don't, Striker doesn't really have that many openers, I guess, to use
Right.
on people. And the ones that they do have are pretty slow, counterable, dodgeable. Uh, but a good striker can close distance pretty fast and drop a grapple on you, real slick. But even still, though, like uh, they're pretty easy to run around for the
Hmm.
most part. I mean, I've seen some crazy strikers 1v1 and um, I'd say they're probably below Mystic. I'd say they're probably on the B side.
Uh, we'll put it at A, low A if anything, but
Sure.
we'll leave this as the baseline so we can say, are they better than this or worse than this? I think that gives
Sure.
us a
Sure.
good idea. And at the end, we'll just rearrange it and do the minor adjustments.
There's a lot of classes. We might need some pluses in there, some C pluses, some B pluses.
You think I can add that in?
Maybe.
Add row
I think
below.
Shai right off the bat. Can you make a Shai tier at the very bottom?
Absolutely. Okay.
Excellent.
Add row above. Let's get the B plus. Don't you think a Shy would be a C tier? Are there any
Shai.
classes which falls in there? Oh man. All right, we can add a Shy tier.
I mean, if we want to be serious here, we'd add a Shai tier.
We just
It's
throw
all.
her right in there right now. We don't even need to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all right. And I'll just change this color. Okay, we're good. I think we'll get a bit more diversity. Frushi coming in with the grand knowledge. Shy S tier. Come on, dude. Anyway.
S
So
stands for Shai. No.
it doesn't work like
Move on.
that.
Move on.
All
We're
right,
done. The
all
Shai
right.
conversation is over.
Okay, okay. How about Archer? Since he's already here, we can do Archer then a Ranger. I once
Archer for 1v1. It's really gear dependent for Archer, I feel like. Their movement's alright, but there's a lot of classes that can just bum rush them, kick them out of their movement, drop a
yeah.
grapple on them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
You know,
they don't.
I would like critique Archer as a class, but General Morris gave me the business. I just can't say anything now.
Yeah, it's a lot of these classes have some like outliers, and I've fought pretty much all of them. So it's
Yeah.
it's super hard to we gotta look at it like. I mean, we should look at it like
Mechanics
what
and
what's the
stuff.
potential of the
Yeah.
class. I mean, base mechanics and also like what the potential is to
Right,
try to like
right.
find an even ground. Because like I've seen some crazy archer movement, and if you're not careful with that movement when trying to like close distance, the whole time the archers are going to be capitalizing on you and chipping you down. And if they have enough gear, they're just going to be melting you.
Absolutely.
Um, for warrior at least, I mean, maybe some classes with some larger hitboxes, like larger CC hitboxes, might be able to chase them down a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even still, like a good archer is gonna be hitting you real hard. I'd say honestly, uh,
What do you say, C plus here? B or C plus? I don't think they're so bad that we can put them in
I'd say
C.
B. I'd honestly say B. Like I've seen some crazy stuff.
I've seen some good ones, yeah. Start with the obvious classes. We know where they're gonna go, like the really powerful and popular classes. They're gonna be up there. So might as well go through the whole list.
Yeah, I agree there. We can start with like some of like the newer classes and then kind of narrow it down.
All right, let me just toss Archer to the side for now, or Ranger to the side for now. Well, how about the newer classes straight up? We got Nova.
God.
I'm sure you like Nova, right? Succession Nova.
So it's a little hard because like in group fights, they are just the most annoying thing I've ever seen. If you don't keep an eye on them, they're just obnoxious.
Yeah.
1v1 they can still be that way, but it's like if you get to put all your brain power into like tracking them on your screen, it's not as bad, but it's like it's still just so obnoxious. The speed is crazy. The trade potential, if the player is smart, they can trade you really hard. Um like SA frontal guard wise.
hmm
What do you think?
When I was watching the 1v1 tournament for the best in class, uh, I was surprised by how quick those fights went for Succession Nova. Because I've fought some Succession Novas. They can 100 to 0 you. They got the power. I mean, they might be walking
Dog,
around with a
they
big
can
shield.
100 0 you when they're on the ground.
The,
Like It's crazy.
Yeah, their little pet thing. They're very powerful. They got a really good block. They got the utility. I mean, not the best utility in the game, but very good. But Awakening, on the other hand, they have a very potent vacuum. They did nerf a bit recently. Um, excellent mobility, burst damage, strong fighter. But in terms of a 1v1, would I say it's certainly not S tier. I couldn't say it stands on the same ground as a warrior and ninja and them, but I don't know, A tier?
I think
A to A
the
plus.
is there no iframe? There's like absolutely no iframe for either kits. I heard somebody say that. I couldn't actually remember if it's true.
Chat, can anyone chime in on that? Does she have an iframe? Problem with just grabbing them is one, Succession has the little pet which starts bugging you, and Awakening is just so damn quick. Awakening does, Succession does not. Iframes in Excel mode. There's a shitty iframe on Succession.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Oh, so it's one of those Berserker iframe arguments where it's like, yeah.
In terms of sheer dueling, I would
Got
say
you.
A.
I'd say A. She's got movement potential. I'd say like A or A plus. I'll leave it up to you.
Let's come back to her. What we can do is as we get further down the list or towards the end, we can compare with the classes on the same tier below and above, and then we can rearrange accordingly.
Yeah.
So we'll put her at A right now, and then when it comes time, we can compare her with the others. All right, Sage. Thank God they toned him down a little bit. He was really annoying in the beginning, but still a cracked class. I think he does some great work. Awakening can do some serious damage, and he has a grab.
Yeah, that grab, you can get crafty with it.
It's like a mid-range grab. It's not even a straight up one, you know?
Yeah, no, it's disgusting. Like it's hard to track them too. So when
Oh
they
yeah.
pop out of that invisibility and they just go for that range grapple, if you're not ready for it, you're gonna get scooped up.
Oh yeah. And Succession still has its, unique play style where it can just drop some bombs on people, but 1v1 wise, I'd say I'd prefer Awakening, honestly.
Hmm.
I'd say
Oh no, for sure.
if I had to compare it to the other classes below, I'd think he's better than all of them. I'd say he's at A plus.
I'd say A plus.
I wouldn't say he's at S tier because I think some other classes can certainly give him the business, but I think that's a good place to keep for now. How about Hashasin?
Uh, Awaken can be mad cheesy.
There's some
Um,
sick combos they can do.
Suck is out of the. I don't know. Suck is kind of bad, to be honest. I mean,
Really?
against non-grapple classes, it can
Mm-hmm.
outtrade most of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe not so bad. But against like grapple classes, as Suck as Assassins, I feel like they're gonna get shut down. I'm just saying like gear match, like equal gear.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
How does Hash stand up against a warrior?
like Suck gets shut down easily.
Right.
Awaken. It
Grab
depends. If
potential,
the
I
dude's
guess.
crafty, yeah, it's all about their range grapple.
Mm-hmm.
And the block jump. That block jump is so sneaky.
They did make it longer cast though now. Has that affected it? Like, is it still effective against 1v1?
When that happened, I've been grinding a lot lately instead of
Okay.
PvP, and so when did that happen?
A couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, was it? Something like that.
Hmm.
When all the big updates drop for each class.
Yeah, at a certain point, it was like you couldn't even see the window for the block jump. But now
Yeah.
that you mentioned it, lately, now that you mentioned it, I do remember. I can react to it a lot better now, so that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Um, but the somewhat same principle. With Sage is like when you're like teleporting around and going like semi-invisible. If you're
Mm-hmm.
crafty that grab, there's a lot of potential Especially and there's the potential to like bully a lot of other classes
Oh
in
yeah.
the same way that warrior does. Um,
I've had my fair share of Hashasin fights. The thing is, like, a lot of people used to grind on him recently, like until maybe a Doom came out. Like, it used to be a very preferred class. Had the potential to stand up to the likes of Lahn and Striker in PvE. In terms of raw power before like Hadoom came out. Now things changed up a bit. So it was a very popular class, had the 1v1 potential as well as grinding at a top tier. Um,
mhm.
in terms of utility, they are kind of cracked. They have a lot of things going for them. In
They have
terms
so much movement, so
and
much spacing pressure.
oh yeah, and their add-ons, they have excellent tier 3 add-ons. I mean, does like there's some classes like Mystic who has one skill for tier 3 add-ons which we never use because in PvP it puts us in a bad spot, the Wolf's Hunger or something, where we start flashing around and blinking on top of people, very unprotected. It's only an iframe when we disappear, but we always get CC'd out of it. So like it has a lot going for it. Do you think we need to
Mhm.
add like an S and S plus tier, or is that too many tiers
S
now?
plus tier. I'd say S plus ain't bad. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Because I would move the warrior up to S plus. Because it feels like some of these classes they can dominate majority of the classes. It's just some classes they have an issue. So let me just adjust this here. And I would say Hash could go
Honestly,
into
you want my honest opinion? Actually, keep warrior S. Slap Lahn up in S
S
plus.
plus.
I swear to God.
I think warrior. I mean, he might have that issue with that cracked grab of Lahn, but I think he gives a lot of classes the business, man. I think
Nah, yeah, slap him on an S plus. Put him up there. Lahn's cheat. Lahn's just S plus in the sense that it's so cheesy though. It's not like the same as warrior. It's like you really don't got to do much to position for that grapple. I don't know.
it's a very powerful grab. And then if you miss it, you just fly around, play keep away.
Oh yeah.
Let's compare Hash and Sage. What do you think?
Ash and Sage. Uh, I feel like I get grappled by hashes more.
Hmm.
But like tracking a Sage is so much more annoying. Uh,
You think he's more difficult than a Hash with all the tornadoes and stuff? I guess like that's Succession's thing. Awakening is probably a bit easier to deal with in terms of keeping an eye on him.
mhm. Yeah, I feel like it's much easier to track a hash than a Sage. Cause I mean, like with the block jumps, if you're ready for him, you know where he's going. You just got to be ready for a reposition for like a grapple after some of those. But
All right.
I don't know. I'd say hash is probably.
What if I put
I don't
both?
know. They feel really similar when I fight them. They feel like really similar. The only thing that Sage has up on me is that like I get poked a lot more by Sages. Hash
Right.
don't really don't really poke
They're,
me.
they're more in your face and just go for it. The full combo.
Mhm.
I guess I can do it. Change it up like this. I can bump Nova up. I can bump Sage back into S with Hash and arrange it like this. Are you seeing my screen on stream, or did you want me to share a screen on Discord or something if that's easier?
Oh no, I can see it on Twitch.
All right, all right. Let's move on then. Berserker's next. It's hard to say because I never really fought Berserkers who had the same gear as me. All of them outgeared me so much that they just Flame Buster or
Hmm.
Flame Blaster. I don't know what the skill's called. They just shoot their cannon at me again and again and I die. In terms of Berserker, like true to his name, he's not the tankiest of classes, but man, it's got damage and it has excellent grabs. It's hard to
Excellent
say.
grabs, excellent mobility. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of pressure. They kind of lock down classes before they even get to them.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of potential there. Something they're missing, however, is they're really susceptible to chip damage.
Yep.
Very susceptible. So like a class like Sage, um, Sage, Nova. They're gonna kind of bully him a little bit.
I would want to put him at A tier, above Mystic and Striker, in my opinion. I don't know about Striker, how they
I'd
exist.
honestly say A plus.
A plus, behind Nova. We can consider that as an order.
Probably
Like,
just because of the chip damage. I would honestly put like like a really good Zerker above like a good any of those other three classes above it besides Warrior. I'd
mhm.
put Zerker above all three of those new classes. But like, if we're just talking like people who've been playing the class for like a couple months, like Zerker's gonna get bullied just because of all that poke damage.
Let's say it's the best of the best players. Like, let's say at the highest potential. Would you still say it's still at the same point where it's? I think a really good player would chip him down. Yeah, I think this is
Yeah, like
okay.
top of the top equal gear. Yeah, I don't know. I think Sage, or I think Zerk could be probably above him, but maybe not Nova.
I think this is a bit of a. There's some combat triangles going on here.
Yeah, a little
So
bit.
I think we can leave him there for now and readjust later.
Sure.
All right, Dark Knight.
Uh, slap that man C. Let's
What
go
did?
C plus, maybe B.
Is that out of spite or is she not that good?
No, they're garbage.
Even with the
1v1,
recent
they're
buffs?
garbage. I mean, maybe.
I've
I don't
only
know.
faced him in a group setting like RBF, so I haven't faced him 1v1, so I can't say.
They're
But
godly now with the
they
buffs. Was
hit
it that
so
much?
hard, dude. So it's not just the buffs, they gave them like SA as well in some skills. So their utility is decent now. I mean, they don't have the world's greatest CCs, but they're
Huh.
protected and they have crack damage. Cause like I get blown up.
Oh, when was this?
3 weeks ago with the whole all the classes.
Huh? Where have I been, dude? I've just been grinding and playing Burning Crusade. Oh my goodness, I'm washed. I've been fighting some like really geared ones, and it's felt like like I've really felt the bonus, like the damage bonus there. I didn't know about the SA though. If they changed any like their protections, I mean,
Chat, can you
I'm
confirm that I think there was protection they got. Um,
their mobility to me has always been really good. Like the potential there is high, but their like range damage just never felt enough. And they fixed some of the gaps with the movement. Mm.
on T dash, Twilight dash, yeah.
Yeah, their iframe was kind of like a little bit cruddy. Like the movement was great, but like they get caught in that movement a
Yeah,
lot.
there was a pretty significant gap before. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I thought that just giving them the SA and the protection there, and then fixing that iframe a bit would have been enough. But they gave them a pretty sizable amount of damage. Actually, I kind of want to pull this up. Give me a sec.
sure, yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then just off like theoretics, I'd say like A or B plus. Because
Yeah,
like even still, their moves are pretty telegraphed.
all right, I'm trying to find this, but it didn't work. It's like access denied. I'm on the main website. What are you talking about? It was a May 26th update, right? Huh? It's not letting me open it up. Oh well, screw that. In the interest of time, we'll drop it. But yeah, it was a pretty sizable buff they got, and they're like raining damage at the moment.
I've
I've
always been interested in DK as a. I almost thought about like trying it out like like years ago when it like kind of when it first came out because the movement it's hard to track them down in like group fights, you know. And that the AoE like the range AoE like how quick they can pop it off sometimes is crazy. But like for 1v1 situations historically they've always just been like free. Like even with Dark Knights that just like I mean I guess for Warriors specifically they felt free. I
Mhm.
feel like with a lot of grapple classes, Dark Knights feel somewhat free. Um, but if they're really pumping up, if they're really compensating now, like the damage and protecting some of that cruddy movement that used to screw them over, then I could see them being like upper. I don't think they're top of the top,
I'd
but
say around A is a safe place to put it right now. Since
for now.
neither of us have like actual hands-on experience with it, I don't want to overestimate it. Because
Sure.
as a striker or mystic, I'm not afraid of a eagle geared DK. Because
Hmm.
I'll always have that plus 15 DP magic DP, so I'll chase him down. But once again, it's hard to say with that one if we didn't actually play it. I think this should be fine. All right, let's move on. What do you think about a guardian?
Hmm. I feel like they're garbage. 1v1.
What do you
I'd
think about their
say
succession?
the I can't really tell all that much of a difference. Like all of it feels kind of they're all pretty underwhelming.
Awakening is
Uh,
so easy to predict. Like it's the movements are slow enough that we know exactly what they're gonna do, and to play around it's not that difficult. But
mhm.
succession, I think they're a bit quicker.
I don't
But
see that many
yeah, they're
succession
very
guardians
rare.
though.
Very rare, yeah.
It's not there's not much to say about Guardian really. Like anybody can recognize they're it's kind of a group fight class. They
Oh,
dominate
definitely.
like they are so strong in group fights. Like the potential for them for like their crowd control in group fights is crazy. Um 1v1 they're just so slow and telegraphed. Even with I've seen some Guardians pull off some like slick maneuvers for some grapple baits and then also like grapple pressures.
Mm-hmm.
Um I just feel like they're way too slow to be competitive against most
1v1,
classes.
yeah. In a group setting, that's different with their massive amount of AoE. And see, I can't really say how good a succession is at 1v1 until I experience it. I faced some guardians who beaten me to the ground, but at the same time, they outgeared me. So,
Yeah. The thing is though, even with the ones that like really outgear you, I mean obviously depending on the class, like you can see the skills coming a mile away. You can move. Obviously theoretically, like there's gonna be some instances where they just got the upper hand on you and they'll catch you with that big cleave, but um I don't know, I just feel like they're so punishable.
maybe I'll just toss her in the back for now. We can keep her on the back burner.
I
And
mean what were you thinking for the letter grade?
I wanted to put it at A. I think in terms of striker mystic, like they a good succession guardian can stand up to a good striker or a mystic. I
Okay.
don't think Mystic's damage is, even though it's pretty high, unless I put her on the ground, I don't think I can just bully her in essays. I think Guardian can play around at Succession. Awakening is really easy to dance around as a Mystic. Um, I think
You know
a
one
A
thing,
would be a good one.
I changed my mind slightly because the attacks and like the like kind of like their big hitting moves are very telegraphed. But I've seen some slick movement from them. It's just they kind of got to stop all of their pressure
Mm-hmm.
in order to move around. I've seen some slick movement, but
It's kind of how it
I
is for a
probably agree.
striker.
You can kind of like move around some of those slower classes. I'd say A. Mm,
Yeah, the thing is that, all right, you're not gonna exhaust the
I'll say B
Mystics.
plus or A.
B plus or A, yeah. Yeah, there's no exhausting a Mystic's essay. That's infinite. If a good Mystic is playing, you're not gonna run out of stamina or essays by the end of it. But yeah, I think that's a okay point. A or B plus. I think we can move it around based on the other classes at the end. All right, let me just move Ninja and Kuna together because I think it'd be good to. Okay, these are all hard hitting classes here. We got Ninja, Kuno, and then Lahn. You want to hit Ninja?
Yeah, go for Ninja. I
Honestly,
mean,
his kit is built around killing players. In terms of utility, mobility, damage, everything is really good. Um, only question now is going to be how it compares to the other S tier classes, like against a Hashasin and a Sage.
mm, I'd say it's easily S tier. Um, but again, I mean, against Hashasin and Sage specifically, I guess I'm not
Would you
not
put the
100%
ninja
sure.
ahead of it?
Like if they're fighting each other or if I'm fighting them.
Mm, if they're fighting each other, like because I would say warrior is obviously going to stay S plus, but for ninja against a Hashasin, ninja against a sage, I think ninja would be better.
I think Ninja has the potential to be better. The only place I could see them like falling short is just getting poked.
Hmm.
That's really it. Like you have the potential on Ninja to outmaneuver both those classes pretty well. Ninja's so fast. Like I've seen some crazy block jumps. Like they're definitely better than Hashasin. They're definitely better than they're like as far as like closing distance, they're better than Hashasin. They're better than Sage. Just gotta be really conscious of your cooldowns, I feel like. I mean, it could be S plus too. It could be up there with Warrior.
Right.
I feel like Ninja could be S plus.
I feel like he has a higher potential than Ash and Sage. As cracked as those two classes are, I think he just has that, that OG programming behind
Mm-hmm.
him where there's so many things that can, you know,
Oh
be
yeah.
played so
See,
well.
that's where I'm kind of getting a little bit stuck here, like considering them, is because like Hash and Nova are or Hash and sorry, I keep saying Nova. Hash and Sage are up there for way different reasons than like Ninja or Warrior.
Right.
So I agree with you there. I think Ninja could be Ninja's S plus for sure.
What do you think about Kuno?
Uh,
She
I
has a
mean,
lot of the same, traits as a ninja, which are really
mhm.
significant, like signature to those two classes, but it always felt tiny bit lacking compared to a ninja.
um, I feel like Kunos get traded a lot harder than ninjas as well. Um, I don't know though. I've seen some really good ones. Like fundamentally, they're strong for the same reasons, but uh, yeah, Kunos have always felt a little bit lacking. I don't know. Like 1v1s, they're really similar. I'll let you
Oh yeah.
take this one. I feel like they might be a little bit lesser than ninja 1v1s, but I couldn't really tell you 100%
Barely.
why.
It's honestly it's the way their damage is spread out compared to ninjas. Ninjas is more focused. Like his burst just feels so much more deadly. She has a lot more spread on it. She's still
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Succession. We're talking in terms of succession for Kuno, because while Ninja's Awakening is pretty cracked, I think Kuno's Awakening is a bit behind. I think it needs a bit of work. I'd say I'd put her just a little bit behind Ninja. She's just lacking in terms of certain areas Ninja excels at.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Lahn.
Oh, S plus that grapple.
I want to. I always every time I fought Lawns, like Awakening Lawns, it always felt like they're one trick ponies. I mean, not to beat them down or anything, because you play how your class is built to play. I mean, no shame in that. If you're a Musa and you're kiting, you're an archer or ranger, you're kiting and running away. If you're a Lawn, you're flying around, biding time and just grabbing people. Your class is built that way. There's no shame in playing that. I mean, as frustrating as it is for me to face against it, I think it's perfectly fine they play that way. So it does feel like a bit of a one trick pony. But would you?
Yeah, there's just not much. There's nothing to say about it. Like they have for Lahn, there's really nothing to say about it. You get that grapple is a wide cone range grapple,
Mhm.
and it instantly like connects. Like there's virtually no wind up on it. Uh,
Yeah.
it catches you like out of like desync as well very frequently. That this is the one class that do gotta bring desync into it. I didn't even say anything about block jumps, but like that grapple, oh my goodness. Um, the mobility on the class, some of it's almost brainless. Um, there's a lot of control in the movement. Like you got a lot of control. The iframe can be abused,
Mm-hmm.
and they can still trade very well. And they have a lot of like moving CC high hit skills
Mm-hmm.
that can go around frontal guards. Mouse move to be uh like maneuvered around frontal
Mm-hmm.
guards. Uh, I don't know. They got a lot of trade potential, and also that grapple pressure is just
Very, very powerful class. I agree with that. I guess the question in order to rank her would be how she stacks against the other S tiers. Ninja, Kuno, Hash, and Sage. As a warrior, maybe she does, have an easier time catching you in that grab. But what about these other classes which straight up disappear? Like Sage, Ninja, Kuno, Hash. I
uh,
don't know if I can say she's better than them. Like she might have that easier time catching a warrior at the grapple because he's, always present.
uh
I would
yeah.
I would say she's on the same level as them, if anything. What do
I
you
think
think?
her movements. I'd say like she's got a lot of like upon that failed grapple, you have a lot of room to get out.
Right, right.
And to avoid poke in the first place. Um, and we're gonna look real bad if we put Lahn below a Kuno for 1v1.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, no, against those other classes, it does well too. The movement,
Mm-hmm.
the tradability, like uh the grapple itself, it's not a very high cooldown. The her range grapple I'd say is superior to a Hashasin's and a Sage's.
Oh yeah,
Um
definitely. Hash is too slow in that regard.
I feel like she can move out of Sage poke very well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh she can avoid a good Lahn can avoid a Hashasin block jump or like any of his SA trades very well. It's not just the grapple. The whole kit comes together very well for 1v1s. I'd say it's easily S plus. If not, honestly, I'd say Lahn's above Warrior and Ninja. Not because of. I suppose they're somewhat limited with their animations. To be honest,
I would
they're a
have
little
to
bit.
when you say that it's better than Ninja and Warrior, I'd have to disagree on that regards. Maybe against them in matchups, but I think Warrior can dominate more classes than Lahn can. I think just thinking about
Really.
it. I mean, just thinking about it, like yeah, she has that great movement, the great utility, but I don't think she can shut down classes with the same dominance as Warrior because
Okay,
she's a
so
one trick pony in my opinion for some of these matchups. Like if she faced a Mystic, she failed her grab. I think the Mystic would have no problem. Like Lahn would have to run away and kite. That's just me from my experience. And of course, if she had the grapple and she lands it, we're dead. But if, for example, Warrior missed that grapple, it's not over still. Like the Warrior can still,
Mystic
turn it
Grapple
around.
is SA, no?
Yeah.
Right. Usually lawns like upon grapple pressure can like a good line can instantly punish your grapple.
Hmm.
Um, Warrior grapple differs from Mystic specifically because I mean, the windup and the connect is unprotected. Um, and you don't really get a disengage animation either, so you're stuck where you're at.
Okay.
So a good line can always like if you miss your grapple on Warrior against a good line, they're sidestepping you and then they're grappling you every time. Like every
Mm.
time without fail.
Okay.
Um, Mystic gets a little bit more freedom there. Like if you miss a grapple, yeah, they're the lawn grapple range is still pretty big, so obviously it's not super easy to just miss your grapple and then reposition with Mystic and move out of the way. Like against the lawn, you're still gonna be punished. Like a good line is always gonna side dash or like side dash into a grapple wherever your guy's headed after the miss grapple. The only difference is like in that opportunity right there, if you miss a grapple between those two classes, Mystic and Warrior, Warrior's gonna get punished like 5 times more often than a Mystic will.
Mm.
Like the Lahn has the option to toss out any sort of like SA AoE trade
Okay.
to catch, whereas Mystic isn't gonna really get punished by that.
Well, let's do
Still,
this. Let's
sorry, go ahead.
let's just hold off the ordering of each tier until the end. Once we do the final reshuffle, then we can put them in the order.
Sure.
Because I think there's a few other classes I might have to toss in the S tier here still.
Hmm.
All right. Next is Maewa and Musa. What's your thoughts on them?
I would say I might need some input from you here because like between the like differing the two because I think they're actually a lot different than people like their succession is not that much different, but their awakenings are very different. I feel like Maewa has a lot more 1v1 potential uh than Musa does for different reasons. Like Musa kind of has like a nice AoE cleave uh pressure where Maewa doesn't have that as much. It's a lot more bursty, I feel like. Uh I've never really lost an SA trade to a Maewa before, but like a Musa can like if you screw up your positioning or like a grapple on a Musa, like they can really chip you down hard. Um, they can yeah they can 1vx pretty well, pretty decently. Like for a good Musa can.
Mm-hmm.
Maewa struggles a little bit more with that 1vx, but um,
So, two distinct features that I see with Musa and Maewa is Musa has a charge where he can literally just, run. So I think it helps
mhm,
him in terms of his mobility, like for the long duration. So um, he can like outlast a Maewa in terms of stamina, in my opinion. Whereas Maewa, she has a more aggressive initiate, like with the Red Moon. Like she can run up on somebody a lot better because it has a frontal guard as well as CC. Of course, it can be punished if the other has a grab and they know what's happening. But
mhm,
their specialty is their mobility. They can run around. They can, if they miss their CC, they're gonna say, "Hey, I'm just gonna wait and try again." And what are you gonna do? Chase them? If I chase them as a mystic, I'm running out of stamina. No doubt about it. And in order to
mhm,
just get to them, I gotta blow all my dashes, and then I'm a sitting duck. So of course I can go into a full SA trade, and obviously, um, we have an infinite SA rotation, which really screws with them. But just to say, if they don't want to deal with that SA, they just take a step back and just look at you, and eventually
mhm,
try to find a gap. So while they don't have that insane mechanical plays of like Alon's grab or something, or Ninja's kit, or Warrior's kit, they have that reset potential. Always have that reset potential with their mobility. I'd say like, because of that, they have that potential. Even though they're lacking a grab, they can just keep resetting as many times as they want. People will laugh at them, say, "Hey, you're running away. I win the fight." No, that's
mhm.
just the mechanic of the class. They just have that insane mobility with their dashes. That's their specialty. Just like a Lahn can fly around, they can dash really well.
I feel like that dash though, that Musa dash that you're talking about, get some. Like if I ever see that, I'm on that immediately.
Oh,
Like I see, I
100%.
see, I see him get like. There's some quicker classes, like some classes with some quicker like distance closing, like
Like a
quicker than
solar flare.
Striker and Mystic. Yeah, like Solar Flare, Nova, Ninja, uh,
Mystic has
Berserker.
one. Mystic has a elbow edge, unprotected, but it catches people
Yeah.
off guard. But
But
no,
I'd say where Musa or Musa, I mean that's okay. Um, but Maewa really excels with getting around frontal guards.
oh yeah,
Like they have some very quick snaps that they can use to get around frontal guards. They can poke you, bait grapples with. I feel like Maewa has a lot more 1v1 potential than Musa does. I'd say honestly, I'd say just I mean just because of their speed, like how quickly they can get around frontals. Like Mooses have a lot more potential to just melt their frontal guards,
hmm
or like trade with them as a. I feel like Moose is kind of in that like uh I'll say like B plus. Eh, I'd say like that B plus area, whereas May was kind of in that A plus.
would you
Um,
really put them below like a DK? DK I can understand with their crazy damage, but a striker maybe? Because like Mystic has a permanent SA, so I would agree with her being above it. But then when looking at a striker, I know it's Musa B plus. Because let's just like take a look at him. Like I agree with the A plus for the Maewa, but
Mhm.
Musa, it feels like he's also around somewhere there. Because if I look at his matchups, let's say if I put him at B plus, obviously he can, I don't know how he fares against an archer because an archer just does so much damage from range. But Guardian, he can dance around a Guardian. DK, I'd say he'd be able to outplay a DK just with the mechanics involved. DK is a non-grab class. I think with his superior mobility, he could dance around a DK as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I guess DK kind of throws me for a loop there because DK is very good at getting through frontals. Mm, but I mean, good Musa Maewa, they're not gonna. I mean, I feel like a Musa can trade a DK. You know, like a good Musa can probably trade a DK. Again, with like
Agreed.
the new buffs, I'm not 100% sure, but like a good Musa can probably trade pretty well with a DK and avoid getting punished, getting their frontal guards punished. Um, mm, However, I feel like kit wise alone, like I feel like DK has the edge on Musa. Like that, Musa's gonna die to that chip damage
Hmm.
before he's gonna be able to get like a full SA trade off. Uh,
But he'd have to be caught first.
would a Musa have to be caught first?
I don't know. There is a Shift E from DK. I think that was a skill which instantly pops up a sword or something in the ground right on their face,
Oh,
which they can catch people pretty well with that.
oh.
Then they have then the other AoEs. I think Musa can avoid those unless they're going in head to head, aggressive. Like,
Well, their block's weak, and their block leaves
mhm.
them
Yeah,
vulnerable
it
to,
does.
getting pressed on their back. And then if they're dashing, like, I mean, they're just gonna get poked that whole time.
Yeah,
Um,
let's leave him at A tier for now, and then we can come back when we do the reshuffle.
sure.
We can talk about the order. Okay, Sork.
Definitely in the S range.
Sork, I think, is one of those classes which excel in that 1vx matchups as well as 1v1s. Their
Mhm.
iframes, the desync, the blessing of desync they have, which really goes in their favor. uh, Awakening is probably better in my opinion. I always felt Awakening had that edge over Succession 1v1. What do you think about that?
Succession's a little clunky.
Yeah,
You don't have as much freedom. That Awakening kid has a lot of like micro mechanics you can work with.
yeah,
Lot more combo potential for sure. I feel like they can trade with you a lot better on. Well, I mean, just pure damage wise, Suck can trade better. But I mean, if you're dodging them, like they're gonna run out of skills a lot quicker than Awakening. Awakening,
yeah.
I feel like you can really lock onto somebody and pressure them.
I think
The
it's
only
a solid
problem,
S tier.
I'd say Sorceress here. Like it's hard to argue that.
Yeah.
They just fall short. If they had a grapple, they'd be the best 1v1 class in the game.
If they had a grapple, I think the rest of us might as well quit.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
I mean, there is this one clip of my guy. We were doing a 2v2 guild tournament on AOA, and I got knocked out. I mean, it was even if we lost that round, we were undefeated in that, and it was a double elimination, so we would have had to play an entire other match. But the Sork I was teamed with took out the warrior and a Lahn. Like the man was cracked. Like that warrior and Lahn, they weren't bad players. They were pretty good in terms of our guild. They were better than most of us. But the
Hmm.
potent he was playing from Australia, by the way, so his desync was on a whole nother level, maybe. And
Oh,
I could
dude,
I could
high
show
ping
you.
Sorks are a problem. No, I believe you. Trust me. High ping Sorks are they're their own problem.
Oh man.
Uh, it's so hard to catch them like outside of their iframes simply because of the desync. But I mean, I want to say it's S plus
It's
because
actually
of
right
the
here. I have that exact scene up right now where he
screw.
does
Pull it
it.
up.
Like he waited out until the timer went down to like 1 minute 45. That's when everyone got moved to 50% HP and you can't heal up. So it's an Awakening Sorc against an Awakening Lahn, Awakening Warrior. And it's do or die. And he goes in and, rolls the dice and takes him out. But the replay, which I managed to catch, is the interesting one. You'll see the power of desync right
Ooh, it was a
here.
clean sequence.
Watch this. This is the true power of desync. You see him come in. He
Huh?
looks like he's already moving at, normal pace while the other guys are going at half speed. But he blows him up, and watch this CC on that warrior. Nowhere near. he was not
Oh,
he was not even close there. Like,
that's a little fucky.
yeah.
Huh?
So this is basically
That
Sork in a
cone
nutshell.
hitbox. Yeah, that cone hitbox. It's a little.
I
Yeah, man,
mean,
dude. High ping storks are a problem for sure. I'm conflicted on the SS plus. Like they lack what makes kind of these S plus tier 1v1ers like
yeah.
really strong, like the grapple. But they do have a lot of movement to pressure you. Like even warrior, like I'm really experienced with the Sorc matchup, and even like I'll fight a lot of Sorcs. Like
Hmm.
I really there's Sorcs I can fight. Like on paper, it's like warrior should have the advantage.
Right.
But then you actually put it into practice.
The
Um,
variables come into play, and
You can't really grapple a good Sorc safely. There's some they have to mess up, and you have to be able to recognize that they messed up on their movements to grapple them. It's very risky even still. Um, I mean, I think there's a really good argument to say it's S plus. Uh,
maybe we could just say because they don't have a gravel, put him down in S. Because
Maybe.
I understand what you're saying. Mechanically, like they do have a lot going for them, but it's just that one thing that would push it over the edge.
uh It's like if I play like the matchup perfectly, I can kind of do at this point for playing it so long. Like I feel like there's no chance they should be able to kill me equal gear at least. Like there's no shot. But I think it's definitely high ass. I'd put it above Kuno. I'd put it above Hash and Sage. Just for like potential. But I mean,
No, I'm happy with
there's
that.
some mind games with Sorc. Like it's not about the kit with Sorc. Like dude, there's some good Sorcs that could just play you. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
definitely. I mean, it's always a pleasure watching a Sork PvP because
Oh, it's always fun.
it feels like they're fearless because, like, they can go in. They can go in and, iframe around. But
Oh,
yeah.
for group fights, sometimes it looks like they're just playing another game.
Yeah.
It's kind of they're just kind of like fucking around and waiting to find somebody to kill. You know?
Yeah. And they can go invisible.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. Anyway. All right, let's move on. We're almost done with the classes, and then we can do the reshuffle and spread this out a bit. And anyone who's going to watch this video on YouTube, they're going to be raging before they see it at the end. They won't even make it there, but their loss. All right, Tamer. I really like watching Tamer's play. I think it's of the OG classes. She has some nutty skill potential. Very high APM class. A lot of combos available to her. Damage is there. A lightning fast grab. As Succession, her dog is just a pain in the ass that I ignored the Tamer and fight the dog instead.
I'll say S plus.
S plus, agreed.
It's a 2v1 every time. Their iframes are really good. Their movements are very good. Their grapple's really strong.
Would you give it
Uh,
Awakening or Succession? The S plus.
well, Succession is really cheesy. I'd say it's still S plus because they can interrupt like pretty much any combo you
Yeah.
put on them. There's not a lot of combos that can get out of not a lot of kill combos that can get out of that pet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, definitely S plus.
I think there's no argument there. Very powerful class. I mean, sadly, their PvE's lacking, but at the same time, I ain't feeling no pity to them.
Yeah, no, fuck that, dude. Hell no. They're you walk up to them in a spot, like, dude, I see a tamer in a PvE spot, like, they can grind there all day. I'm gonna leave them alone. Like,
Yeah,
that's some OP PvE right there in itself.
I
I
think
don't know.
Tamer is the one class that blew me up the fastest on equal gear. They've comboed me 100 to 0 the quickest. And it was like, what the hell was that?
No, they can do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of got like a little of everything. The thing that really, if they didn't have the pet though, it'd be a little bit. I don't know. It'd be a little bit. There'd be some debate, but
Yeah.
just the movement, iframe, grapple,
Still
all that
solid.
wrapped together with the pet. It's just yeah, it's so strong.
Ranger.
Mm,
Hmm.
what do you think?
I wish they had better protection. I mean, they do have that, an SA going on when they're doing their little hop thing, but they're doing no
Mhm.
damage when they're doing that. I feel like they're lacking on protection. That's one thing that I always thought with Ranger. I mean, a beautiful class. Ranger was actually the first class I played on BDO, but unfortunately for me, they came out with Awakening and they're like, well, now you got to be a glass cannon melee. And at the time, if you remember, we didn't have absolute skills. So we are kind of forced into that. But now, I think it's a very high skill potential class or skill ceiling class. You got to be good in order to play it well.
I
Like,
agree.
if an average player picks it up, he's gonna get stomped. You gotta be really good to utilize your kit and deal with the lack of like the protection on your offensive skills. And CC wise, it's not terrible, but very lightning, very quick grab. I think it's one of the quicker grabs in the game for Awakening.
It's very fast, and I believe it's a KD as well.
Yeah.
Um, the Yeah, they're lacking in protection a bit, and they're lacking in like trades. They can't
Hmm.
really trade in that mid game.
Yeah.
Um, but they can put a lot of pressure on you up close and from far away. Um,
Where's Flannels? Is he in here? I'd take his word for it. Oh, it's hard to
yeah, I
say.
wonder if he's still in here. I'm curious to what he would think. I'd say it's definitely up there in that uh, A plus, maybe low S range.
Mm, I don't know. Equal gear. As a mystic, I think I can chase one down. I mean, they'd probably kite me, but at the same time, I'm not too afraid. I don't know. Chat, what do you guys think?
The only problem with them is like for them to be. You have to play into them. Like you have to play yourself when you're fighting
Right.
them. I feel like they can't really force many situations like how Warrior, Tamer, Lahn Ninja can. Um, but like man, if it's just you and them and like you have to kill them, it's a scary fight. Like they can outplay you. It's just they just can't really trade and they can get poked down. And with like a lot of the new classes, they can just straight up zone Ranger.
Yeah.
Well, like something I'm kind of thinking in group fights in that aspect, but
Hmm.
mm, I'd say somewhere in the A range, probably upper A range.
Yeah. I think that's okay. It's a tough one. I mean, it's very, very individual dependent because like the way we can determine a rank is going to be based on our thoughts on the mechanic side of it. But then it really depends on the person behind the wheel. So that's how BDO is. So to say straight up, hey, this class is better than that is a difficult thing to do.
It's so hard. That's why these tier lists, like, dude, they get people mad.
Oh, 100%. I'm willing to face the fire because the important thing for this tier list, for this discussion that we're having right now, it's not the actual tier list itself. It's hearing the thoughts and opinions of someone much more experienced than myself and what your thoughts are with, each of these classes having been PvPing for so long. I think that's what the real value is out of this. I don't think it's like just saying, hey, this class is better than that. At least
Yeah,
this discussion can help like a new player determine, hey, what the lay of the land is.
I think that's important for you to say for sure. Because for anybody who doesn't know me, I've literally only played Warrior, but I mean I've played it for like 5 years, so I'm pretty experienced on it. But I don't know the ins and out of every single class, and like, but I fought like some of the best players of every single class, so that's why it's kind of hard for me. Because like I've seen the top level of each of some of these classes, like putting Musa down there is kind of hard. Putting Ranger down there is kind of hard. Uh, Zurich, like even Zurich A plus, I want to say it's like S upper S, but like there's just I gotta consider some of the other classes and some of the newer classes. So
It's just purely
don't take
mechanically
this as
speaking.
100% fact. Yeah.
Like a godly striker, I'm sure he can, throw with the best, but at the same
Oh,
time, this is just
you you know
mechanically,
Verde,
yeah. Yeah, I heard the name.
dude, he's nasty on striker. Actually,
Yeah.
he's got the movement down, the spacing. Like most strikers look mad sluggish. But that dude has the spacing down so well that it baits you a lot.
Oh man, there's sometimes when, as a striker and mystic, if you can just like, edge into just walk into that range where you're one dash away, and then
Mm,
you guys are just moving around, and suddenly you just do that one dash grab, it feels so
boom.
satisfying.
Oh yeah. That shit makes me mad, dude. Because I feel like I should see it every single time, but like there's some sneaky little strikers.
Yeah, definitely. Like Awakening Striker slaps. Like he has mobility, he has good protections. His leg drop can, cause an earthquake. But only reason we're putting it here is mechanically speaking, comparing it to the matchups here. A good striker, like he can face off with the best of them, and it's not to say like an S tier class is straight up better than this guy over here. So
Hmm.
the same with all of these classes. Like I'm sure there's some cracked archer who's gonna go head to head with a hash or something.
I really should try out Hash and Sage because I kind of see them as mechanically simplistic, um, and really telegraphed. But it's just like the way their kits are set up, it just makes them so good at 1v1s. It's difficult though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Those two classes specifically are difficult. Same with Nova. Nova Hash and Sage feel very similar to me.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Shall we finish off this tier list and then do the final reshuffling?
sure, yeah.
Valkyrie, the queen of
Uh,
resistance.
mm,
There recently a change came through where the shield throw doesn't CC on every hit. It's only on the first hit. So thank God for that, because that was toxic. Excellent damage, decent mobility, and the resistance was like the playmaker there. Like with resist crystals, so hard to catch, man.
mm,
I think they really did tone her
yeah.
down, like in a good
No, that
way.
shield throw is disgusting. Like,
No.
you could not move through it. Like, even with an SA skill, a lot of times you just get caught on. If you're using an SA skill with like any sort of kind of gap in it, that
Yeah.
shield charge would catch you, like no matter what.
Because of Yeah, it's because it's a fast hitting skill with the CC on every hit of it originally, but
Hmm.
now I think it's better. And also they took away a little bit on the sustain side, I think, or self buff side. So
I believe it is one of those skills that can kind of like speed you up as well if you're hit by it, if you're in the middle of like a longer animation.
mhm.
And that's another reason why it was so cheesy to catch people with it. You could literally just speed someone up into their unprotected frame for an SA ability, or just like end their ability early, and if they're not ready for it, they just get CC'd.
Yeah.
Besides that though, I mean, 1v1s for a Valk kind of just come down to how well they can sidestep.
Yeah.
Um, or how well they can kind of like predict a trade. It's
A
hard for me
plus.
because go ahead.
I was thinking A plus with that because just thinking about it mechanically, I think that shield throw thing was a really big change because playing against it was very difficult. Either you're not in range, or if you are in range, you're gonna get CC'd. It was a very nasty thing, but she does have like really good, um, you know, what do you say? The protection with the resist and stuff. It's really good. So I think she's still a very viable class, but mechanically speaking, I think I just put her a little bit below the S tier. Like she's just lacking a little bit without that broken shield throw. I think she's getting closer to the balanced side of things.
It seems like a very predictive class. You kind of
Yeah.
gotta be predicting with it. It doesn't have as much like pressure. No, it has a lot of pressure, but what I'm trying to say is it's more like um kind of for the same reason like Ranger is effective 1v1. They're kind of like moving into them is kind of like a trap.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'd say they're definitely above Ranger just because of the block,
Yeah.
some of the protections, being able to trade. Um,
I think looking at all the classes in S tier and above Valkyrie right now, if I put her in A plus, I think I'm happy with that. All those classes can,
oh
do a
yeah,
little bit better, do a little bit more than her. I think
I
she's
think
in a good spot
so.
there. Yeah. And thank you all for the follows. I really appreciate it. Those just came in quick succession. Yeah, we're almost done with the PvP tier list, and after this, we're gonna reshuffle this. I think I'm gonna knock out those C tiers and or the B plus and the C plus tier just to shorten it down. But
Yeah, you could probably take out B plus, C plus.
yeah, I mean, it's just there aren't classes that are that bad, and I don't really feel good saying like putting Archer at the bottom because I get destroyed by some really good archers.
Hmm.
So is what it is. I mean, I think the Shai is like the deservedly at the bottom. I might even just put him at B right now because I feel bad. He's not really that bad. He's not so bad that every class is better than him or anything. But yeah, we'll reshuffle it. But the final two, Witch and Wizard.
Uh, I mean, against any grapple class, they're gonna be like C, B.
Dude, in like RBF, before Succession got nerfed down a bit, before it wasn't even a big nerf. It lost like what 2 CCs. I'm like, get over it. You're still climbing on top of structures and dropping down meteors from
Uh,
far as fuck away.
yeah.
But they used to just cry so much about being grabbed because my whole strategy was I'd stay at one point in RBF and the entire game I grab witches and wizards. Just grabbing
Yeah.
casters, that was my thing. Because all I
Bro,
cared
that's
about
their
was a
only
dub.
weakness. That's their only weakness, and they complain about it. That's the funniest part. Like, Warrior versus Wizard. Who do you think is gonna dunk the other dude 1v1? Like, that's how it's supposed
Warrior.
to be.
Yeah.
We're supposed to slap these little mages up like it's nothing. Like, they stand behind people and chuck fireballs. And then they got Succession, and everybody's looking like some idiots as they run around one-shotting people, moving faster than. Honestly, it feels like they move faster than Mystic at some times. Like I've seen some wizards do some shitty maneuvers and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
biff it, but I've seen some like fast ones, and then they just one-shot you. It's actually disgusting. Um, and they're a little. I mean, they're harder to grapple now because of that. Um, but I don't know. Suck. I mean, there's 1v1 potential there with just because of how much damage they do. I feel like against like grapple classes, they're still pretty susceptible to getting like dominated.
Being a proud fighter main now, I will not put
Uh-huh.
them above my classes.
No, we can't. No.
I will grab them. I will grab them. It's equal
Mm.
gear. I'm gonna grab them. It's only a matter of time because Mystic Striker, they have the DP buff, which is really OP. On top of that, mobility or iframes, I think we can get around them well enough to do that. Sure,
Oh yeah.
a really good witch and wizard can beat an average striker mystic. I mean, even a good one can face off against a good one and take some games off them. But mechanically speaking, 1v1, I just can't put him above that. But
They don't. And though I've seen some mechanically like really impressive wizards, like on Awakening, like Sucks just feels man, it's just so you're chucking out damage. That's really all it really is. Like mechanically though, I saw some crazy Awakening wizards. Um, a couple Awakening wishes, but they just don't have the same freedom.
right.
But like Suck, this is kind of a good two classes to narrow everything down on. Just
Hmm.
because, like, yeah, I agree with you. Striker, Mystic, they're gonna dominate them. But then, like, Musa, Maewa,
They suddenly have a hard time with them for sure.
uh-huh. Mm. I definitely can't put. I'd say everybody in S plus here, everybody in S tier is probably gonna uh have a pretty. They're gonna have a good advantage over Witch Wizard. I'll say Nova, Zerker, and this is like equal gear.
Right.
Berserker, Nova, Valk, they're gonna do pretty well against Witch Wiz. Um, like I said, Musa Maewa, eh. And then, I
I
mean,
think the
that's the
witch and
other thing.
wizard, I think the casters would be able to deal with the Musamewa a bit better.
Musa Maewa, they could deal with DK pretty well. Um, they can deal with they can deal with Archer pretty well.
Hmm.
They might get traded. They can get traded by Archer, kinda, but
Yeah.
I mean, they just have so much. They can probably CC an Archer a lot easier than Archer could CC them. Guardian's a little difficult there. Guardian's probably gonna. Actually, I don't know. I feel like a good witch, good wizard could probably walk around a Guardian pretty well.
Who says Awakening Wizard can't grab? I always meme on wizards for complaining about grabs. I'm like, you got one too.
But dude, I've seen some nasty grapples too.
I
Like,
have. One time an
eh,
Awakening Wizard grabbed me and I didn't know what happened. I'm like, wait, did someone else pop into the fight? What happened?
hey, let me share a video now. Hold up. I recently did a little part two to this original video. It's called Valhalla 2, but the first video I did, it was like a big collab with
was it
people.
was it the video you just dropped recently? Yesterday or something?
Uh-huh. It
Want me
was
to pull that
I
up?
think it was a couple days ago. I'm gonna link you the original one. Like if we're
Alright.
talking about wizard grapples, like let me show you. These are some of the people I was talking about. For like impressive awakening wizards. Let me show you. Like uh, yeah, right here, boy. Hold up. I'll link it at the time. Link it at current time. You want me to just
Alright.
slap it in Discord?
Yeah, sure.
I linked it at current time here. Just pull it up on the stream. Like watch this grapple. Like you can really with awakening wizard, you can really finesse that grapple. Oh, boo. Like what?
Yeah, we gotta watch that again. That was nutty.
There's like two on there that are kind
Okay.
of like that. He does it to a warrior, and then I think
Oh,
they
is
might be.
it?
He does it to a warrior, and the other one, I think that one's a Musa right there though. I'm not sure.
Just add insult to injury right there. If it's a Musa, yeah.
I think it's a
It
Musa.
looks like an awakening Musa. Let me just slow it down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you can catch a warrior with a double with a wizard grapple, and you can catch
There.
a
Yep.
Musa, like there's no argument to be made. You can finesse it.
Right
Um,
here. That
it's like it's
Musa. He
yeah,
must be hating life right now.
yeah.
He's like
Th- th-
grab and
Oh yeah.
slap. Poor guy. I just feel bad for him. Oh, dude.
Yeah, lights is crazy though.
Yeah.
He was crazy. I don't think he plays much or at all, but uh, it's like I don't know. How do you choose between like you gotta finesse that versus like suck wizard? You can just pump damage and just close your eyes. Um, the Musa is his teammate, not his opponent.
Who is this guy? That looks like a Musa. I mean, the dash animation?
I
Right
believe that's
here.
the Musa that he catches, yeah. I believe so.
That looks like a Musa. I mean, look, he has a crescent blade. It certainly isn't a wizard dashing like that, so
And this is a while ago. This is
yeah.
like 2 years ago. Yeah, 2019. So it's definitely not, you know, gotta be a Musa. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me because, like I said, from my perspective, I'm just gonna dominate wizard, which pretty much every
Musa
single day
Maewa,
equal
same
gear.
thing, man.
But yeah, Musa Maewa as well. I mean, I've seen some. I've met like 2 or 3 exceptions to that case.
Mm-hmm.
And even still, I gotta like, I can, I mean, I gotta really try if I want to kill him. But I still feel like I got the advantage. So that's why it's a little hard. Like, there's potential in those classes, but from my
Yeah,
perspective, I'm not 100% informed. So for which whiz, I don't think I can accurately place them anywhere because I don't know how they feel against all the other classes. Because I
yeah.
mean, I just dominate them. I mean, what do you think? Where do you think you'd smack each of them?
Sorry, but I'm a fighter main.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just far too gone in the bias side of things to give them a fair shot, just because they are very, very, very notorious in large scale. Then
Mm-hmm.
1v1, if they don't outgear them, like I think they have a fight on their hands with a lot of these matchups. Like if they're not outgearing everybody. I'm like, if I had to say, let's ignore Mystic and Strikers supreme dominance against casters.
Wait,
Then
hold up. You wanna slap Striker up to A+ real quick before we start doing this?
yeah.
I feel like we should probably move him up.
And I'm gonna put Mystic as the best A tier because like she has a potential to be up there as well, but I think these other classes can play around her because like yeah, I think Valk, Maewa, Nova, Berserker, Striker. I think I'm comfortable saying they can play around her. While I have the damage to blow up players mechanically, I think this is a good spot to put it.
Hmm. Okay, sorry. What were you saying about Mage?
So now we got to decide like how it matches up against all of these others. Like a DK, Ranger, Musa, Zerker, Nova, Maewa, Valk. That's going to determine where they sit. Because I'm too biased. I'd say put them on A tier because I only play these two classes and I haven't faced like their Fury 1v1
Hmm.
unless they outgeared me.
That's kind of what it feels like. The only time you really, like the only time I've like died to a wizard, wizard or a witch 1v1 really is if I either fuck up embarrassingly bad, or like I misclick something, I desync, or they just have like way too much gear. So it's hard. I'd say they're definitely. Oh, I feel like we gotta just slap them in A and move shit around them.
Yeah, I think this is fine for now. Let's do the reshuffling and go from there. What's up, Braden? All right.
Hmm.
All right. So S plus, I agree with everything there. S and S plus, I think I'm happy with that. I don't think we need to adjust anything there.
Um, I think we need to move Maewa down a bit
Hmm.
and Musa down a bit. I think we should move him down. I think Maewa low A and then Musa down in the B tier.
I'm thinking about Ranger right now.
I feel like they should go up. I feel like Rangers should go up because if we're talking about like mechanical pressure, I feel like they should at least be on. Um, they can definitely outmove a Mystic. They have the potential to outmove a Striker as well for the same reason. Um, Same with Berserker, and they can avoid Zerker's trade pretty well.
I think that's as far as I'd move it though, like above Zerker, because after that, I just feel their lack of protections is just going to get to them. Facing a Nova, a Valk, Sage, Ash, Kuno, Sork, Tamer, Lahn, Ninja, Warrior. I don't see any gaps for them to like any classes they can bully.
Bully
Equal
probably
gear.
not. Bully probably not above. Well, I guess now I gotta think a little bit because I've been thinking about Hash and more specifically Sage, like from the tunnel of fighting like 300 AP Sages.
Yeah.
Um, let's see here.
Well, when a Awakening Ranger faces against another Ranger, that's one thing. But when they face off against these other classes, like I like to see, I want to see them get past the guard of a Succession Nova, or you know, trying to match up against try to catch a Awakening Sage, outplay
The
a
the one
Hash.
thing the one thing about I feel like Ranger might have the uh where like a good Ranger can outplay a Nova is like they don't really need to trade with Nova. Nova's real fast. Like desync aside, I feel like a good Ranger can waste a Nova's cooldowns and movement
What about
and
a Succession?
reposition on them.
They can kite a Succession Nova for sure.
Succession, I feel like they're gonna get pressured a little bit, and zoned a little bit. Um, I'd have to see that in play though. I'd
Hmm.
have to see it exactly. I couldn't like, I don't know. I couldn't envision that very well.
Archer, is he really a C tier class right now?
For 1v1s, I think so. I mean, why you feel a little, it sounds like you're a little bit
My
trying to save
only
some feelings here.
my uh wouldn't say feelings. It's just that they can hurt. Like, are putting it at a C tier? It's to say that every other class has a innate advantage against it. Like,
Mhm.
would you say they would at least be able to dance around a Guardian, right? 'Cause they're pretty slick. Because I just don't. I don't think about putting competing against these guys here because they do have like some sort of advantage against him.
Mhm.
But it's like Guardian. That's like the benchmark here. Like
Sure.
they ain't that fast.
And I feel like their distance close could probably get halted by Archer pretty well. Honestly, that I'd be interested to see a really good matchup between two good like Guardian and Archer players. Um, on the higher end of Guardian, I've seen them close distance pretty quickly, but
Oh
I've
yeah,
also seen like an Archer shut down somebody closing distance like really, really well. Not just by kiting them, but just there's like skills out there that can completely halt movement.
yeah.
Like Ranger Shotgun. Uh, like that's kind of like the quintessential like you bitch, you better stop running at me. I'm gonna stop you right there without even seeing you. Um, that's a toughie because they're both so telegraphs. Archer can't damage Guardian. And see, that's the other thing.
The damage
If
scaling
we're
is could be an issue.
yeah, if we're talking equal gear, like maybe to the maybe the trials, the new trials. I feel like Guardian's gonna have enough room to close that distance and exhaust them and trade. And their
Mm,
slows, I feel like Guardians are gonna have a lot more advantage in the like debuff department with their slows.
that is
Making
one
it
thing I don't know. Like I don't know how they would scale. Because like
I-
the archers I fought, they had more AP than my DP could handle.
they're
So
very gear dependent.
right.
Guardian, I feel like Guardian has enough natural defense to move up. Even though they're slow, they can move up on them, get in that range for a debuff trade, slow them down quick enough, or slow them down enough to kind of like close that distance and either grapple or just straight up damage trade them.
Hmm.
Rotate their block health with their regular HP pool. and just keep trading with them over and over again. Where Archer really doesn't have the resources to rotate their frontal guard health pool, which sucks, and then their regular health pool. I
And their
feel like they're
stamina
very
isn't the
squishy.
best. Yeah.
No, that's not. You can chase them down.
All right.
The,
No, that's
yeah,
justifiable.
they
I think.
compensate. They compensate with that stam usage with like their animations, and if you
Right.
slow them down, that's where they kind of fall short.
Yeah, that's justifiable. Like their gear skilling is an issue I've heard multiple times about archers. So
Mm.
I'll give him that. All right, but Musa, do you think Musa, Maewa, there's any move to or any room to move them around?
I think maybe move Maewa down, but put it high B. But it's that one's also really hard because I've seen some crazy Maewas. It's just like
Yeah.
they don't have really any good matchups for them, but they do have. It's like an inverse of Warrior almost. They got nothing, but they got just enough to like go crazy on somebody. But it's like it doesn't ever feel like it's in a Musa or a Maewa's favor 1v1. Um. mm,
Yeah, we're currently reshuffling, guys, just doing the minute changes up and down.
yeah, Witch better than Guardian? Shit, I move Witch up to S plus. Um, I think for the same reason, like DK, I feel like a good DK can really handle a Maewa with chip.
hmm
I feel like Maewa should probably just be high B. What do you think?
The thing about Maewa and Musa is what I said. If they have a very small window to get that CC in and, take someone out. But if they miss it, they can run away and say, "Hey, I'm just going to try again in a bit. Just hang on there." And if you try to chase them down, there aren't many classes which can, really chase him and punish him at the same time.
Hmm. I think that
So,
the difference between like upper tier Musa Maewas and like lower tier is kind of like right in there where you said like
yeah,
they need to know when to get in and get out.
that's very individual dependent, like the player dependent. If they're very, glass cannony, ook, let's go in, do as much damage as possible, they're not going to be very successful as Musa Maewa. Whereas if they're tactical about it, they say, "Hey, I can't get an opening on that Valk. I'm gonna just chill in the back for a bit and try again," or something like that. I mean, Valk's a bad example. A Striker Mystic,
Hmm.
that's a good one. Like, while Mystic does have a full SA rotation, there are gaps. They try to go in, hit the gap. Like every time I do a Thunder Pound, Maewa comes flying in. They're like, "Now's my chance." I'm like, "I know you're looking for that," so I immediately just bait him with it and cancel out of it. But you know,
I feel like that's kind of the dynamic
yeah.
between Striker Mystic versus a class like Maewa Musa. Do you feel like you have the advantage on the defensive or the offensive?
Mm, I think
Or like
I'm
counter offensive, I suppose,
counter
yeah.
offensive. I'm definitely stronger. If I have to be on the offense and they're trying to play keep away, I have a difficulty just because I have to blow all my dashes just to touch them.
Right.
So it's a give and a take. If they're coming in, they want to trade blows. I'll do it. I'll go all day because Mystic's essays are just really good. And the thing is, her essays aren't just essays. Like some of them hit real hard. So it's tough.
Right.
Like it really depends on the person. Like, are they the type of person to say, "Hey, I missed one skill. I'm gonna just reset," and then that's just it's hard to account for that in a tier list. So I think let's just bite the bullet and put them where they are.
I think Musa and Maewa are they're probably yeah. For as far as they're like matched up against everybody else, I think that's kind of where they need to be.
I'm sure
Not
some.
where they need to be, but where they are. I feel like they could use some love.
Yeah, agreed. I think there are some things they can do for them. Like against a striker, I'm sure a lot of them will be like, "Nah, I'll chase up a striker. I can punish their gaps and such." But this isn't a Musa or Maewa tier list. This is an overall trying to fit them as best as possible with against everything. So that's fine. But what?
I was thinking like they could probably use like I mean upon initially blocking, I feel like they could use like some sort of lingering essay. I know that sounds a little crazy, but like kind of like how like Warrior used to have lingering essay. They throw
Yeah.
out their block. And I mean their essay, and then the lingering essay would kind of start to wear off when they drop their block. So after they drop their block, they'd have like 2 seconds of lingering essay.
Yeah.
I feel like Musa Maewa could probably benefit from having a like a short lingering essay either off like either the end of their dash or like once they initially put up their block, you know. It would give them a lot more room to safely regenerate stamina. And also like it would probably make their dashes a lot more safe and like
Right.
chaining movement in between their dashes because they get caught a lot like in their dash. But I don't know. They could use some love somewhere.
One idea I had for Musamewa was give them an armor pierce skill. Like, for example, like this skill would be stopped by an iframe and a frontal guard, but if it hits on a SA, the CC goes through. And put on like a 30-second cooldown, make them, work for it to use it. Don't put it on like a massive AoE range, but just a single target armor pierce skill. I think that would just give them that little bit of a, you know, potential. I mean, of course it can be
Depending
resisted,
on the
but
skill, that shit could be mad broken. Like
it
you put
could
it on
be.
Dragon Bite, that'd be so broken. But
No,
maybe
I'm thinking about a separate individual skill, not like on an
sure,
existing skill. Like something stationary, something they can throw out. Like in case someone's really just doing an infinite SA in front of them.
like a frontal guard check, like basically telling someone, "Hey, you better frontal guard right now, or else you're fucked," kind of
Kind of,
deal.
yeah.
Give them a little bit of an indicator, but make it fast enough for it to still be effective.
Yeah. It'd be hard to balance and really sketch, and people are going to be afraid of some new mechanic coming into the game that they don't know about. So it's
Yeah,
hard to
that's the
say.
thing. It's an interesting mechanic, an interesting idea, but that's a slippery slope. You're
Oh,
gonna get some
100%.
like I don't know. Mm,
Anyway,
you're gonna, yeah.
what do you think about Witch? Do you think she should be there or a bit worse? If you were to compare her with everyone below her right now.
I feel like Wish needs to go down. Um, it's hard because like I said, like I don't their fights feel really boring to me, so I've never really spectated them too hard.
Yeah.
Even like the best of their class, like the only ones I've really had much interest in are Awakening Wizard. So I mean, I haven't spectated them too much. It feels like they should have their own tier, just because they can play perfectly and kind of outmaneuver some classes and then just damage trade them. But I don't know. The only finesse I really see from them are from their teleports and then like freeze mechanics.
Hmm.
Other than that, they're just trading you or out healing you.
Yeah.
What do you think though?
The thing about them is their teleport is a bit better to deal with, easier to deal with than the wizard, but she has better sustain damage at the same time. Like as a Mystic Striker, I'm not sitting there taking that sustained damage. I'm running after her, and it's hard to say when it comes to the other matchups because I don't play a Witch or Wizard, nor do I watch enough Witch Wizard content to say how they face off against each of these classes here.
Mm. I would probably put them honestly. I mean, Awakening Wizard can be finesse, but I'd honestly put them like around C.
Uh, we're not hating on Witch or Wizard. We're talking practically in terms of their mechanics. Like if this was a large scale tier list, we put them at S tier, no problem. We're
You
trying to
even
think.
go up, you go up to like 2v2 or like 3v3, and this whole entire list changes.
Oh, 100%. Even
Like,
2v2,
yeah.
like how many of these grab classes can be punished for actually landing a grab?
Mm.
Like if I'm a striker, I'm standing there holding the person, tickling them in the face, but while I might be in an SA, I'm vulnerable, right? And like, do I even have an SA on the grab? I think so, right? Yeah. Regardless,
Like,
I'm a sitting duck. It changes. It changes things up. Yeah.
you go up to like 2v2, 3v3. I mean, you instantly move wizards and guardians up. Um, you can move a lot of these. You can move like some of the ninja classes down a little bit. I like ranger down a little bit. Like it really depends on the situation. But for like 1v1s, I really feel like Witch Wizard are on the low end of it all.
I agree with that. I mean, like, there is a lot of complaints about like their succession and whatnot, but
Mm.
in an even geared standpoint against someone who's looking at them, not someone who got jumped, like
Mm.
1v1, I think they are on they're where they need to be. And like I
Oh,
said, a good player can like, match up against an S tier class or even S plus and come out on top. This is just speculation based on the mechanics from our experience. But
I've gotten finessed by a wizard before. I'm not
oh,
gonna lie.
100%. I got slapped around by a awakening witch like big time. I couldn't do anything against her. He was just that much better than me at the time. Granted, that was like a year ago, but still.
Look up, buddy. Yeah, no. There's always potential for each class, and that's what we said at the very beginning. That's the nice thing about BDO.
Yeah.
There's always potential for every class, but we're just kind of it's very general. We're thinking generally here.
Overall, what do you think about the tier list right now? Is there anything you would change?
I'd probably put. I mean, me personally, I'd put which was like actually C tier. For just 1v1 specifically.
1v1 specifically. Oh, would you think Awakening is better or anything? Like, would it make it better if it's Awakening or Succession or both of those specs?
I feel like most of these other classes have, just in general, enough movement to get around Awakening's movement, and then Awakening is kind of losing that damage trade potential that Suck has, which is the
Mm-hmm.
reason why most people roll Suck. I don't think Awakening makes all that much of a difference.
Do you think a Witch and a Wizard can outdo a Guardian, though?
1v1?
Yeah.
Nah.
No. They are pretty tanky, right?
They're tanky.
Yay!
They, I feel like they can get some debuffs off equally as well.
Mm-hmm.
Movement pressure from Guardian, just spatial pressure from Guardian is a lot. Uh, it's a lot more prevalent. You know when a witch or wizard is. You see the teleport and you know like they're stuck for a bit.
Yeah.
They don't have grapple, so you can move up to them, pressure immediately, push a debuff on them, and then if they waste their movement, like their smaller movements, like you can just instantly reposition, either
Yeah.
grapple them or get around their frontal or trade with them again. It's a lot easier to tell when a mage is stuck versus a guardian,
Yep.
and they always have that grapple pressure. That's why I put them above. They're like melee mages.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, a lot of this can be changed depending on the opinion of the individual. Like, I think the S and S plus is pretty solid, and the rest is pretty much speculation for the individual player, I guess. This is, after all, just our opinions, and we don't play most of these classes. I think out of this list, we played 3, so I think I'm okay with this list. I think the discussion is the valuable thing for anyone who's going to watch this on YouTube or something.
The only thing that I'm a little iffy about, I agree as well, but the only thing I'm a little iffy about is the Hashasin and Sage. Like I'm just personally not. I take them out of the. I mean, I could probably swap Nova and Kuno actually. Um, but besides that, like I don't. I'm
Nova
not
and
truly
Kuno?
confident.
Or just Sage and Kuno or Nova?
Nova.
Hmm.
Like I really think their movement is just that cracked.
Awakening? Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as I feel like Kuno has a. They're a little bit easier to tell when they're like for the same reason between like Guardian and Mage. Like it's
Hmm.
a lot easier to tell when a Kuno's stuck versus a Ninja. Um, just can't
True.
really snap onto you all that much, like a Ninja can. Uh, but Nova, I don't know. Their
Oh,
movement
crap.
is just so disgusting.
Oh, thought I reset this. Yeah.
But for Sage Assassin, I'm not super confident on where they should go because I guess with those 3 new classes, I haven't really seen like the potential of them Like we haven't seen anybody get just like crazy cracked good at them because they haven't been out that long.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think this is a
it's
good place to stop, honestly.
sure.
We can debate like the spots for a lot of these classes over and over. So like it's whatever at this point. I think we got the value out of it.
I agree. Yeah, we could go on for a long ass time.
Yeah, and it changes depending who you ask as well. Like if you ask someone who's actually playing a uh Maewa at a really high level, they're going to be like, I can take on that class. I can take on that class. I'm not afraid of that class. Like it could be different. So
I think this is. I mean, actually, I think that's super interesting. This tier list stuff you're doing, it kind of reminds me of like I don't know. He like Heaton's interviews. The
oh
perspective is
yeah,
really interesting. It's really interesting. You should do more of these with like other people that like have played each class
yeah.
for like a long time and kind of like get their perspective on it. It could be I don't know. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is with the tier list is because it's so subjective, like there's a lot of variables in BDO. So to account for all of that, unless there's like a massive change, I don't like doing it. So like the last time I did a PvP tier list was like in February, and since then there's been enough changes that it's justifiable. So
Huh.
that's pretty much why we brought this one back out. Yeah, I do intend to like pull out a PvE tier list pretty soon as well. So yeah, definitely for sure. Like, what are your thoughts on like the current state of BDO's PvP? Like, I'm not too happy with the whole AOA situation. Like, I wish they told us that I wouldn't be able to compete on the trial tournament if I
Oh, their
didn't win.
tournaments. Their attorney, yeah, dude. Their attorneys are the way they've always done tourneys. Like official ones have always been kind of a little bit
Yeah,
scuffed. Some of the rules have been a little bit like what's the word?
I
Uh,
wish I wish they told us.
asinine.
I think I could have taken a game in the main tournament. Just at least one game. There's a chance of me being able to take that, and I could have played the trial tourney. I would have been happy with that.
Yeah, my view on that, and you know the whole 100 days played on the character rule, like you had to have 100 days played or whatever.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like, dog, if somebody's been playing a class for 5 days and they can walk in and mop everybody, shouldn't that say like more about the other contestants,
Yeah, I don't
or maybe
understand the
just
reasoning behind it. What
yeah,
advantage could they have by having that rule?
yeah, I don't know, it's a little silly.
Hmm.
It's like PvP in general though. I think BDO's in a good spot. I think they got to be careful with the new classes they're putting out.
Yeah,
Like
they've been going real quick with that. I mean, they've been pumping them out.
like
No.
they look very similar. Like some of these classes are starting to have like aspects of like some of the best aspects of like all the older classes kind of mesh into one class, and the classes are getting a lot chunkier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe it.
Dude,
Just
like
less intricate.
now we have like what 22 classes, is it? I forgot the exact number, but it's at the point where they might be running out of ideas, but I got like a lot of good ideas. Like I got a necromancer, engineer, we could do like a priest. I mean, I can come up with quite a few ideas if they'd listen, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Instead of a necromancer, we're getting a pirate lady, you know. I don't
Yeah,
know
what's
how
going
else
on
it'll work though.
there? I've seen nothing about that. Like, I'd rather see a more healer based, like, and I don't really want heals in the game, but like a
Yeah.
maybe like a debuff or a buff focus, like a cracked out Shy. That's more combat focused. Like, I can
Yeah.
see that. What are they doing with a pirate?
I
You
don't
already got a
know.
ranger and archer. What do you? Are
I
you just gonna
mean,
shoot me?
all we heard was like I think we got like a tiny screenshot of the face. So we're just, it's speculation. She was wearing a pirate hat and the whole summer event is Into the Seas or something. Whatever it's called.
I
So,
mean, there's only so many weapons out in the world, you know? They gotta start inventing some new shit. I mean, I guess you got like nunchucks left.
ah,
I don't
bring her
know, dude.
Bruce
Like,
Lee.
yeah.
Uh, that'd be funny. A Bruce Lee character, but hey, with a pirate they could like, a cutlass and a pistol probably, but I mean, with a necromancer, give them a grimoire, give them like a skull scepter or something, summon up some mobs and give them some control abilities. I could come up with like good utilities for it, but this I don't understand their philosophy. Like a lot of the class changes, a lot of the updates they do, I wish they gave us more on the reasoning on why they're doing it.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
I didn't ask for more damage as a Mystic. They gave it. I'm like, I'll take it. And I'm not gonna go out and campaign saying, "Hey, Mystic didn't need this. They have to revert it." No, I'm gonna keep it because I've been blown up 100 to 0 in a single cooldown in my entire BDO career because I'm not up at that 700 gear score level. So I
Mhm.
just wish they'd give a bit more on the reasoning, like say why they're going that route.
Right. I wish there was a little bit more direct communication between it's like the player base and the company.
Yeah,
Uh, they're definitely motivated on a mass scale. I
yeah,
feel like they're definitely trying to appeal to the not specifically like a PvE group or a
right.
PvP group or like a role play group or I don't know whatever other groups there are. It's definitely on a mass scale, and so I don't know. The PvP community has always kind of been uh
It's a difficult thing to do. I mean,
it's hard. That's the thing, you know.
you have to do, if they look at the overall percentage of the type of players there are in the game. Like some people think like 40% of the player base participates in Node War. I'm like, nah,
Mm,
nah, dude.
nah, I don't think so.
The mass of the player base is pretty casual. I think I would say sub 10% easily. Like active players,
Hmm.
it's not that widespread. So, and
I'd
one
say it's
thing,
like maybe a couple hundred, like even if, and saying a couple is like I don't know, like it's really a couple hundred that do like those like siege,
yeah,
and like consistent node wars, whereas there's like thousands of people playing the game. Like, oh,
yeah, and it's like it's a difficult thing to do, but one thing I appreciate them for is they do try to keep like all of the regions in mind. They do compare like prices across different regions, why the economy's acting certain ways and stuff. So to their credit, I mean, comparing to all the other MMORPGs out there, Pearl Abyss ain't that bad. I mean, some things that could be done better, but it's a difficult task to do. I mean, we haven't really
yeah.
seen better. I'll say that.
I mean, people always, when it comes to stuff like this, people always expect perfection and their opinion to be put up front first and foremost. It kind of seems like because everybody thinks they're taking the most reasonable approach to every single problem. Um, so
And
it's
for
like who
free.
really judges that? Yeah, for free. Like you're not
And we
paying
won't
for any of the
pay.
changes, right?
No pay to win. No pricing. We paid our $10 for the game. Yeah.
I
Oh.
just think there are a couple glaring issues that are kind of like commonly agreed on that could be worked on, like specifically like I mean like rated PvP or like PvP
Yeah.
instances. Um, there's a couple of little screwy little mechanics for each class that people can easily point out that could be fixed, but I mean, yeah, that takes money to do. But I mean, also like Bugatti costumes though.
I bought it.
Boo-
I bought the
oh my
Bugatti
god,
horse.
you're enabling them, dude.
Dude, I just wanted to say I had a Bugatti horse.
Alright, fair enough.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean that's just all in fun.
No, that's funny.
It's like I don't think they've really spent too much resources considering how the costume actually looks.
No, I
I
think
don't think there
somebody
was
chucked that
anyone.
up in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think someone was sitting here for like a week trying to design that. It's like I'll
However,
stick
let
the
me.
headlights on the eyes, we'll put a grill in the front, we're done. And meanwhile, I'm in the partner Discord petitioning to have four wheels on the horse.
Oh man.
uh, that's all good. So anyway, what's your plan on BDO right now? You're just grinding away until you get to that end game?
Uh, yeah, I need DP. I'm not trying to get one shot anymore.
Yeah. What are you at
Pretty.
right now?
I'm at like 289 AP, 291 Awakening AP, and then like 311 DP. So I'm
Hmm.
struggling on the DP side.
Right.
Feel like I got AP, but yeah, all these new classes are big AoE. So I run into somebody with like 300 AP.
Yeah.
Like some of these new classes, I don't get a chance.
Yeah, I hear you. One thing I always disliked about the way the game's designed is that someone has to grind it out for like an entire year to reach that end game point.
Mhm.
You know, I always thought
Unless you're
that's
mad lucky.
even then, like how lucky can someone get? I mean, like you might tap like 3 or 4 really good accessories, but eventually that RNG
Oh,
catches up. Very few people will get past without that,
oh
you know.
yeah.
But
I mean, like my gear, I got that in like a couple months. Like I'd consider my RNG like really crazy on this new account, and even still, I'm walking out there getting one shot. You know.
yeah. And even after you get like 370 DP or something, you're still gonna get like blown up by some people, depending on your build.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you're running evasion veil while they're, you know, stacking out a little bit of accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I can't even imagine other classes like non-warrior like with that kind of DP versus that kind of AP.
yeah,
Like, oh, with less of a block to move around. Yeah, what that guy just said, some classes really lose out when under geared, like
yeah.
Musa, Maewa, like Striker, Mystic, DK, Ranger, Berserker. You just get blown up. You can't really. I don't know.
Like for
But
me lately, I've been stuck like with this. You know, I have a bit of a situation here. Like I like BDO as a game. It's my favorite MMORPG right now. But if someone comes
same.
into chat and says, "Hey, do you think I should start BDO? I like PvPing," I'd be like, "Nah, bro." I'd be like, "Yo, just roll up a trial character and play on that, and just don't bother about the main game," because I just can't endorse the way it is right now in terms of the progression. Because like
Sure.
are you like if you enjoy the way the game is, if you enjoy the whole progression system where you know it's very grindy, but I enjoy the grind. I enjoy being out there for like hours just grinding mobs. It's relaxing for me. Like I'm not getting stressed out about it. But then again, I'm making money off like YouTube. I have a stream going. Like it's different. The priority is different. I can afford to do that. Can I really just tell a random guy, hey, yeah, spend like 1,000 hours playing this game throughout the course of a year?
Hmm.
Maybe you'll get to the end game, and even then, you'll still get rolled. There's still a lot of meta issues. Like I can't just endorse it on the PvP aspect. I have to tell them
Right.
about everything. Say, do you like this entire game? Like, do you like everything about it? Then sure, I think it's a great game to play.
Hmm. I agree there. That's why I like seasonals a lot. I think they should kind of revamp the game in a way to make the entire earlier like progression phases more streamlined
Yeah,
to get to like that really like lower soft cap like 250 AP, 290 DP area. I feel like they should kind of like forget seasonals, just make that the early part of the game,
yeah,
like that progression system. I feel like it could like that quick rapid progression system could definitely make it could definitely hook people a little better.
right,
Um, it feels a lot more rewarding than that earlier. Like back in the day when 0 to +15 was like that was the whole game. Like that slow progression, that low drop rate, you'd have to grind for a soiled ogre for like 3 hours for a chance to even get one. Like it was a lot more mystical. The progression
yeah,
was slower. But now there's people up there with 400 DP, 300 AP, and you don't want to sit there and grind 3 hours for a 5 AP necklace or whatever.
yeah,
Obviously, people aren't doing that. There's some other there's just a lot of dated areas of the game that I think they could update. But I agree with you. It's like if you want to join the game and get into PvP, trials are the best way to do that. If you don't like the progression, you need to enjoy the enhancing and grinding in itself to enjoy the game at all long term. And it's not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. Like I
yeah,
got IRL buddies who see the PvP and they'd love to get into it, but they got jobs and lives, you
yeah.
know.
I mean,
Yes.
that's also a thing, right? Like you can't bring a friend into the game and play with them. Like there's really nothing you can do other than power level them and then play on
Uh-huh.
trials.
Uh-huh. That's why I'm still playing WoW. I like the game, and that's kind of like what most of my IRL buddies play.
Yeah,
I'm like, some days I'm just like, you want to play BDO? And I already know what the answer is. What are we gonna do?
exactly.
And I got nothing for him, you know?
Way the game's designed in that aspect is like it suffers. They should really take like the RuneScape approach with like mini games and stuff. Like they used to have Shadow Arena. That wasn't a bad deal. Like I mean, they could have done like more mini games like that. Like
Hmm.
um there are definitely things they could do if they wanted to, but I just don't think they want to. It's just not in the cards or even in the realm of possibilities for them. They're like, oh, we got so many other plans. this is the game we want to do. And that's understandable that they stuck to their guns, but no, I don't think that 10v10 will bring like a mass migration of players, but I mean, it's interesting to have. But Flannels, while you're here, what do you think about Ranger's position on the tier list? We wanted
Also,
to.
yo, what about tagging a? You know how you can tag another character? What if you could just tag a friend in? They don't get an inventory or anything.
They just get to use your gear and play around.
It would be hard to implement, but like, yeah, I don't know. You could, like tag them in. There'd be a cooldown for it. You could tag them in for like an hour or two. I don't know.
RNG. I don't think like mechanically it'd be impossible or difficult to do it. It's
Oh,
just their reasoning to do it. Like,
could be abused as well. I feel like that's another reason why they've always been hesitant to implement like certain things into the game,
yeah,
like quality of life stuff. Like it's always been there's always been some level of abuse like for stuff like that.
yeah. Yeah, Flannel says hard to say with Ranger because the skill difference from top ones compared to average ones is insane. Yeah, what do you think?
Yep.
Considering like top tier. Yeah, I agree, and it's like it's hard to pinpoint this. So, like I said, the main take from this whole tier list is going to be, our conversation, not really where we're putting it. I mean,
But
anyone
wouldn't a wizard be able to kill a ranger? See, that's the problem. But wouldn't a wizard be able to kill a warrior? Yes.
like
How,
everyone
can they
can
do
kill
it as
everyone.
efficiently? Yeah.
Anyway, I'd probably just close off the tier list at this point.
I think it, oh, I didn't know you were doing a video, but I mean, you should probably put a little
Oh, I'll put a
disclaimer that
massive
it's definitely
disclaimer.
it's from a warrior's perspective. You gotta.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I usually put whatever tier list I do, slap it on YouTube. But
Oh,
no, the disclaimer will be there. I know what kind of comments to expect, and frankly, I just say thank you for the engagement. Thank you for watching my ads. Just
you're
move
putting
on.
out a class, putting out a class tier list. It's always like you're shooting yourself in the foot a little bit, but
I've done it enough times too. I think I've done it 3 times already, so I know what to expect. It's whatever.
fuck it.
I mean, like as a content creator, like there's always that percentage of people who view the content negatively. Like
Uh huh.
depending on what content, there's a higher percentage or lower percentage. People always think that, if you look at the ratio, if it's like 95% positive and then there's 5% negative, well, that
Hmm.
5%, if you scale it up enough, it's still a lot of negativity. Because like if I was to see a video where I had like, 50 likes, 10 dislikes, and each of those persons dropped a comment, that'd be 10 people, posting something negative. But if you multiply that by 10, that's like suddenly I have 100 people. So even if there's that whole other positive side, we still have to deal with that negative side. So it's not like ever in like a ratio perspective. It's more, it's always going to be you and then the other number. So
I
my
think.
way
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say my way of dealing with it is like, I understand the analytics of YouTube and them leaving a comment, them even leaving a dislike, it helps my channel. I mean, them
Oh
watching the
yeah.
video, it's like I get the view, I get the ad revenue, it's like thank you. Let's just move on. It's fine. I mean,
Screw it. And then that, I mean, with that being said, I mean, people are always more inclined to say something negative, like leave a negative comment, than to
oh,
just
absolutely.
toss a like and go about their day, like any normal fucking person should. But with that being said, let's put Maewa S plus tier. Fuck them all. Uh, put Wizard up there too.
Oh man.
Nah.
Because they're a
But
female class, we'll put them up there. No,
oh yeah.
most of the negative comments come from the waifu defenders. They're like, "You insulted my waifu."
Oh, waifu. We're putting Guardian S plus.
You know
We're
how thick my
putting.
guardian is? You put her at B tier?
Mm, that's me.
Did you
Hey,
see
but
the
I got
jiggle
to
physics? Yeah, I hear you, dude.
I gotta run though. I kind of actually was having fun. I kind of was not looking at the time, but
Oh,
I got some
dude.
people waiting on me.
Well, I appreciate you dropping by, man. Definitely was fun. I learned quite a bit from you. I think the chat would Chat definitely appreciates your opinion and your
Mhm.
experience on PvP here, so much
Oh
appreciated.
yeah, I appreciate it as well. And I mean, obviously, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing good. But I don't know if anybody's ever told you. I think it could be pretty interesting if you. I mean, if you're into the tier list. I know you said you only did like a couple other. I think people would probably be interested to see you like I don't know, grab some of the maybe quote unquote top, like PvP of each class, maybe get their perspective and hear their argument on it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll
Try it out if you want to. It could
Yeah,
be
for
cool.
sure. I mean, my favorite thing about like streaming BDO is like, I mean, what I do is pretty boring. I'm just grinding. So I do like enjoy talking to other people. So I do like a little
Hmm.
podcast. Sometimes I bring on friends and just talk. And that's the fun part of BDO. It has a lot of depth to it. So there's a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah.
But actually playing, it's like my content's pretty straightforward. I pick striker or mystic for the day and go grind. But yeah.
Whatever works, whatever's fun.
But dude,
But
I really do
yeah,
appreciate the time, man.
hell yeah. See you around, brother.
All right, dude. Take it easy.
It's
And let
due.
me just plug you in right here one more time.
Oh yeah. Send him
Everybody
my
go
PayPal.
straight up. Everybody go follow him, subscribe to him, go to his videos and drop likes and comments. But yeah,
God bless. Peace out,
Ants,
brother.
take it easy, dude. Alrighty. So guys, I really do hope it helped a bit. I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Yo, my wizard can go clap people S tier, S plus, A plus, whatever." This doesn't really matter where we put it. My whole hope is that it just gives you a little bit insight into um, the perspective of a top tier warrior like Hans. Like the dude's cracked on warrior, so getting his take on each of the classes versus someone who plays a complete different class, it's going to be different. So the real value comes in through the conversation we had about each class, and I think the tier list itself, it's like, fuck tier list. Like, play the class you like. Like, play the class that you can stand being on this game for thousands of hours for an entire year grinding your ass off. Like, even if you like Archer, play your Archer. If you really like Archer, play the fucking class. Like, forget about the tier list. Forget about. I mean, if you're really worried about, getting less trash, tag a character, tag a succession Lahn and call it a day. Go be the most busted grind class in the game and just make your money. But play the class you enjoy. These tier lists really do mean nothing. It's our speculation. I fought General Moores like just casually 1v1. Dude bodied me. One of my buddies, who's an archer, he also bodied me. But at the same time, I've chased down plenty of archers, and every single class here has beaten my ass. Likewise, I've beaten every single class here. Like, tier lists are just for perspective. So just keep that in mind and don't take it too seriously. I'm sorry if I insulted your waifu's honor, but my mystic is way hotter.